My name is Tessa Fisher. I am a PhD student at the School of Earth and Space Exploration here at ASU. My PhD is technically in geoscience, but most of my research has to do with looking for life on other planets. It's really cool.
That's cool.
I'm also a proud and out trans lesbian. I started transitioning about 3 years ago.
Awesome. What made you choose to study this path, all the way to PhD?
I've been into it since I was at least 12. I don't know. I blame it on reading a lot of science fiction growing up, but it just, I really liked astronomy, I really liked biology, and then I discovered there's this thing called astrobiology, which combines both of them, and it involves looking for aliens, and I'm like, oh my god, this is what I want to do with my life.
Wow.
And here I am. So the short version of it is that we are trying to use some of the techniques developed by network theory, which is a sort of obscure branch of mathematics. I honestly don't do most of the mathy stuff, so it's kind of a black box as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But we're using some of the techniques developed by network theory to try to see if we can figure out better ways of detecting if there's life on a planet or not based on its atmospheric composition. Because if you do some of these network theory-based analysis on the atmosphere of Earth, the results you get look radically different than if you do it for pretty much any other atmosphere in the solar system. And we think that's due to the presence of a biosphere. Not 100% sure yet, but that's what we're hoping.
Wow.
I am going in, well, this is my second year now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
How long's the program?
As long as it takes.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to be out in 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So how do you feel like, as far as it relates to the community and also the science community, how do you feel the science community at ASU is welcoming to?
It's actually been really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already well into transition by the time I came here, so I could have gone stealth if I wanted to.
Right.
But I haven't, because I guess that's just not who I am,
Right.
And everybody's been totally welcoming and accepting of it and haven't really batted an eyelash.
Awesome.
And I mean, it's been, what actually really surprised me is my advisor, Sarah Walker, fantastic person. I actually met her years and years ago, years before I transitioned. And she has been so good about keeping names and pronouns straight that I actually had to double check and make sure she remembered me from before.
Yeah.
And it turned out she did. She just, it hasn't been a problem for her or anyone.
Awesome.
And so yeah, it's been really nice. And there is a large LGBT presence in CC, more than I was expecting. I think 25% of my cohort is some flavor of LGBT, which has been really nice.
Awesome.
You don't feel alienated or isolated here.
Right. So how do you feel has that helped you find your place here at ASU, or how do you feel
Oh
you
yeah,
found your place?
it's been really nice. It's very welcoming, and especially compared to universities I've been at previously, where either because of the subject I was working on and or because of my identities, it was very easily to feel siloed, or you're kind of out in the wilderness on your own. Here I don't feel that.
Right. What do you think changes that? What about?
Honestly, I think it's the fact that people here are so nonchalant about it, and so welcoming and open. I remember when the cohort, the other people in my cohort were first getting to know each other during orientation. One of them had rainbow, earrings, and I'm like, oh wow, those are really cool. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm bi, and I'm like, oh okay, well I'm gay and also trans, and it was no big deal.
That's awesome.
And it's been really nice.
Have you had any challenges at all in your studies here at ASU, or just in general?
Not really.
Good.
I mean, at previous universities, yes, but here I haven't really noticed much of a problem. And I mean, I guess the one problem I did run into was that it was at first a little difficult to find people, especially queer women, for some reason, in my age range with my background. But because you don't have as much of a concentrated community as you might say in Seattle or Oregon or New York or wherever. But I was like, well, I guess maybe if I start hosting events, things will start happening. And so one of my New Year's resolutions was do more stuff with people in real life, and that's what I did. And 30 people showed up to the first one, so
that's awesome.
It became a thing.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Do you plan on staying here after Arizona?
I don't know. It depends on where my postdoc takes me. It depends on what my wife ends up deciding she wants to do, because she's sort of in the process of switching career fields.
Awesome.
Who knows?
Cool. So when did you meet your wife?
It'll be 6 years in February.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Oh, that's awesome. upcoming questions. I know Brock and I, so just a little background about us. So Brock and I met here at AC in our first year. We've been together for over 3.5 years now. So it's awesome to have a partner here. So is she also here? Or?
She's currently employed full-time as a veterinarian. However, for a variety of reasons, she's thinking of switching out of that field. So right now she's trying to actually get into here eventually, go back to school.
Okay, awesome. That's really cool. So have you, like, together, like, when you in the community as a couple, have you had any, like, challenges as a couple? Or?
I mean, not here.
Good.
Elsewhere, yeah, definitely, but not here.
Is there anything like ASU as a community could work on when it comes to trans issues or even just LGBT issues?
Mostly getting information out there. Like when I first came, and they're working on that, like, because I've been part of those meetings.
Right.
You know, when I first came here, it took me a while to find out, okay, what are the doctors at Student Health that, you know, are comfortable treating people who are on hormones, you know, or prescribing.
Right.
You know, it took a lot of digging to find that out. And it would have been a lot easier if they'd had a website that said, okay, here are the ones who are trained to do it, or whatever.
Right.
Stuff like that. Now, like I said, from what I understand, they are working on that, at least as of this past summer. So hopefully that will no longer be an issue. But that's really the only major problem I've run into it here.
Do you feel like anything that's happening like in our external environment, like the nation or politics, has had an influence here at all, or like what do you?
It definitely seems to be a bit of an island, which I've liked.
Yeah.
But I mean, which is nice given that the greater national scene can be kind of depressing.
Yeah.
But you know, within like the Tempe campus, anyways, it hasn't felt like much of an issue. You know, again, here people seem pretty nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm wearing a shirt that's a space queer, and the only thing I ever hear about is people complimenting me, if they notice it at all.
Right.
At first, you don't have to come out to everybody at once. Come out to the people you know are going to be supportive of you. They're going to be your lifeline. With that said, you know, I like I said, I've been really pleasantly surprised how accepting and open this community has been so far. So don't necessarily be terrified that it's going to be the end of the world if you come out.
Right. What would you say to people that like maybe are transphobic or maybe against our community in general? What was one thing that you would want them to know about the trans community?
Honestly, that as cliche as it is, we're not that different from anyone else. I mean, yeah, I've had some really unusual medical experiences in the last 3 years, but, you know, beyond that, my day-to-day life isn't particularly more interesting or scandalous than anyone else's. Yeah, you know, it's just trying to get along just like everybody else.
Yeah. Well, yeah, is there any, like, I don't know, anything else that you would, like, I guess going back, if you could tell yourself 5 years ago, 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself?
10 years ago, me would be in total disbelief at all of this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Probably just reassurances that it's going to work out okay.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in like the 10 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Well, I would like to be working as a research scientist for NASA. Don't know where, but somewhere. You know, hopefully more or less settle down. May or may not have a kid, we'll see. But yeah, you know, just kind of continuing to follow my passions.
Awesome.
So it's interesting. A lot of the stuff I'm into, even though there are circles that don't necessarily intersect, have really strong queer presences. I mean, like I said, I'm in CC, which has a very surprisingly strong LGBT presence. I do burlesque as a hobby. I'm in the Phoenix Women's Chorus, all of which have very strong queer presences. And like, this is great. I know tons of queer people now, especially queer women, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot, you know, if I want to go out and meet other queer women or whatever, you know, have an event, there doesn't seem to be much going on. And I actually talked to a bunch of my other queer female friends, and I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't really noticed much, you know, there doesn't seem much of a community here. And I'm like, well, guess I gotta go and start something. So, you know, I was like, hey, I'm gonna have a movie night. We're gonna watch a really cheesy lesbian movie. Who wants to come? And people just, started showing up. You know, the first one out, I probably had like 20 people, maybe 30, I don't remember. And, you know, we try to have them at least every couple of months since then. And it's been really nice.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
I mean, especially, with the political climate, the need for community and feelings of solidarity seemed really important. And, just I had a lot of cool friends who didn't really interact with each other because they were in totally different circles, which I thought, would all get along together really well. And so far they have. So it's been really cool watching that unfold.
Yeah.